So today I'll highlight some important things that have happened in the US since the weekend, covering undermining elections, excessive use of force by ICE, targeting enemies, and then finally global destabilization. So starting with undermining elections. So following a host of Democratic victories on Tuesday, Donald Trump has called for sweeping changes to the election system. In a social media post on Tuesday, he wrote, "Pass voter reform, voter ID, no mail-in ballots." More broadly, several prominent conservatives have sounded familiar alarms about voter suppression and other efforts to manipulate the vote on Tuesday, but without any evidence, and basically they were sowing unjustified doubt in the election results. Moving on to use of force by ICE. So in Ontario, a US citizen, Carlos Jimenez, was on his way to work when he pulled over to warn a group of immigration agents that they should complete their stop of a car quickly because school children would soon be coming to wait for their bus. Now, his lawyer then said that moments later, ICE agents shot Jimenez from behind. A spokesman for the Department of Homeland Security said that the shots were defensive because of how Jimenez had reversed his car. Then in Chicago, armed ICE agents dragged a daycare worker out of the daycare facility and arrested her in front of children. Videos show the agents chasing a woman into the facility and then appearing to slam her face against glass doors. And in another incident, this time in LA, masked, heavily armed federal immigration agents arrested a US citizen in the parking lot of a Home Depot. They entered his car and drove away with his toddler, who was also a US citizen, in the back seat. The agents then called the grandmother a few hours later, asking her to pick up the 1-year-old girl. The grandmother said they didn't know what happened to the girl while she was missing, and they didn't have any information about what happened to her son, the girl's father, not even where he was being held. Thirdly, targeting enemies. On Monday, at least 4 agents who worked on cases related to the January 6th insurrection on the Capitol were fired. They were then reinstated later that Monday and then abruptly fired again a second time on Tuesday. Now, the FBI Agents Association on Tuesday then criticised FBI Director Kash Patel for erratic decisions and arbitrary retribution. And then just to end on global destabilization. So since the weekend, there have been 2 more strikes on boats in the Caribbean, bringing the total to 16 strikes and 66 people killed, with no presentation of evidence or attempts at due process. And this comes as Republican and Democratic lawmakers criticise the Pentagon for not briefing them on national security issues. Now, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has greatly restricted the flow of information out of the Pentagon, and in fact he told Pentagon staff that they have to obtain permission before interacting with members of Congress. So for details on these actions and more, go to trumpactiontracker.info.